We are live on YouTube, so here we go. David Peterson goes about 5.5 innings per start. He's 1-1 on the season. Uses mostly the sinker, changeup, and four seam with a little bit of slider and curveball mixed in. So here's the first pitch to Nootbaar. In there for strike one, and it's 0-1. It looks like that's not Nootbaar, it's Victor Scott. Sorry, it was a bad view, I couldn't tell. Nootbaar is getting the day off today. Victor Scott at lead off. Peterson missed with a sinker outside, 1-1. So it'll be Victor Scott leading off with Lucan Baker hitting second at DH. It is a lefty, David Peterson. So that's why we're seeing Baker. Here's the 1-1. Up above the zone, 2-1 now. So Burleson will be available as a pinch hitter. Contreras at first base, Arenado at third, Donovan at second. Here's the 2-1. Popped up to center field, but an easy play there. And Tyrone Taylor is there to make the play. For the Mets, it is Taylor in center, Juan Soto in right, and Nimmo in left. Around the infield, it is Vientos at third, Lindor at short, Beatty at second, Pete Alonso at first, and Luis Torrens behind the plate. For the rest of the Cardinals lineup, well, here's the pitch to Baker, way outside, 1-0. We have Ciani in center, Jordan Walker in right, Scott in left, Arenado at third, Donovan at second, Sajaci at short, Contreras at first, and Pajes behind the plate. As Baker swings under a fastball, 1-1. The pitch to Baker. A little outside, 2-1 now. Let's make sure this is lined up. Sorry, I'm streaming the game, aren't I? Can't have that. There we go. The 2-1. Hard hit ball by Baker, but to center field, and Taylor makes the catch. 2 outs now in the top of the first. Alrighty. It'll bring up Wilson Contreras with 2 outs and nobody on against David Peterson. Pitch is a little high there. That was a four seam. And it's 1-0. David Peterson had a 2.9 ERA last season, and he's at a 2.6 this season. The pitch, hard ground ball, foul. So you can expect about that level of performance. 1 or 2 runs over about 5 or 6 innings. That's very, very good pitching. But the Cardinals are good against lefties, so we'll see if they can figure it out here. The 1-1. In there for a strike, up and away, 1-2. At least they've been good against lefties in recent seasons. I guess without a guy like Goldschmidt, that might be changing this year, but we'll see. The 1-2 to Contreras. Swing and a miss, slider below the zone, and it's a 1-2-3, top of the first. So we go to the bottom of the first, scoreless, and we'll see what Miles Mikolas has in store against the Mets. So let's just head straight over and take a look at Mikolas. Oh, are you kidding? I have the wrong Chrome. Let's get that over to here. So there's Diaz. All right, Mikolas. So he's not doing very well this year. Didn't do very well last year either. And 2 seasons ago, it was a little debatable, but does have a good breaking ball this season. Let's see what last season gives us. Okay, so a good fastball last season. Didn't walk a lot of people. Just got hit very, very hard. He also did fail to strike out very many players, so that's tough. When everything creates contact, eventually contact will catch up to you. Back in 2022, he was probably pretty good. Yep, there you go. So when he's on, he still doesn't strike out a whole lot of guys, but doesn't walk anybody and has good fastball and breaking ball value. Off speed doesn't really matter, I guess. And I guess softer contact, that's a big one. If we look at more recent seasons, the exit velos come down to about average or way above average. So that's good. That's a good sign for this season. We'll see if that keeps up. All right, he's back. Lindor stepping up to the plate. First pitch from Mikolas. He is outside with the four-seam, 1-0. So as I just said, not walking somebody is a good first step for Mikolas as he gets strike one in there with a four-seam. It is 1-1 on Lindor. Lindor had a great game yesterday. 3 hits at least. Here's the 1-1. Popped up. Easy play for Sajasi in left field. Scott calls him off and makes the catch. So 1 out now in the bottom of the first. Coming off a 3-hit day, Lindor pops out, and that'll bring up Juan Soto with 1 on and nobody out. Soto hitting .221 on the year with a .773 OPS, so still walking a lot, as you would expect. He's become known for that, and for good reason. First pitch now from Mikolas is outside, 1-0. When you have an OPS that high with a batting average that low, you have to walk a lot and you also have to hit for power, and that's what Soto's done his whole career. Here's the pitch. Change up in there for a strike, 1-1. Soto has 3 home runs in 19 games this season. 7 RBIs. The pitch from Mikolas. In there for a strike with a slider. That was a great pitch at the top of the zone, and it's 1-2. That is one good thing about this matchup, is Mikolas can kind of attack the zone against a guy who likes to walk. So here's the 1-2. Good pitch, but just missed inside. 2-2 on Soto. Let's see if Mikolas can keep pounding him in there. Try to get in on the hands as the ball is pulled to first base. Easy play for Contreras, and there's 2 outs now in the first. So Mikolas with a few good pitches to Juan Soto, getting the first 2 outs, and that'll bring up Pete Alonso, who's been the Mets' best hitter this season, hitting .343 with a 1.138 OPS. Does have 5 home runs on the year, but also hitting for average. First pitch. Sinker up and in, fouled back, 0-1. So Miles Mikolas has been efficient so far in this one, but we're only through 2 guys, so hopefully he can keep it up. The 0-1. Slider low and in, absolutely spanked by Alonso and off the wall. Ciani's going to have to run it down while Alonso rounds second and will hustle for 3. And he'll have a stand-up triple here in the bottom of the first. Mets crowd going crazy for that. You never see a big man like that hustle all the way to third, but Pete Alonso did it right there. Part of the reason is that the ball got away from Ciani off the wall back in center. Took a weird hop off the corner angle there, and Ciani also bobbled it while sliding to pick it up. So that made it easy for Alonso to get all the way to third, and there's a runner on third now with 2 outs in the first. It'll bring up Jesse Winker as Mikolas fits a slider in there for a strike. Winker has a good history against Mikolas as he was on the Reds, but he's hitting just 212 games this season. So .200 batting average, .656 OPS, no home runs yet. But this one's hit high and deep to right field, but right at Jordan Walker, who will make the catch, and we're through one. Tied 0-0. So the triple doesn't lead to anything for the Mets, and that'll bring up Arenado, Donovan, and Walker in the top of the second. So let's take a deeper look at David Peterson as we wait for the game to return. So great off speed, great breaking ball, but not a lot of value from that fastball. It's weird that they have him below average at the pitching value, despite having a great ERA. But we can see a better visual from last season. And there you go. So his fastball is a quality pitch. He is a quality pitcher. Not a lot of value in that breaking stuff, but great changeup, and that's why he throws that more often. So there you go. Really good extension. The expected ERA was really high, though, so you wonder why that is. It must be good defense on the Mets. And maybe he's good at making hitters hit the ball where the defense is shifted. So some sort of combination of that. A lot of ground balls, that helps a lot as well. So that's what the Cardinals are up against. Arenado, Donovan, and Walker hitting in the second. It's weird seeing this part of the lineup hit in the second inning with Nootbaar out of the lineup. I guess Marmol wants consistency for the hitters. Don't want to mess with it too much, even when you're giving a guy a day off at the top of the order. But Baker and Scott, I don't think they've earned the... I mean, even Contreras, like you almost threw away the first inning as far as run value goes. But this isn't the playoffs. It's just a game against David Peterson in the regular season. So that does make sense. As Peterson puts strike one in there against Arenado. And here's the 0-1. Chopped foul. The other way, 0-2. The 0-2 pitch to Arenado. Fouled away, still 0-2. Arenado having a good year this season. .284 average for an .847 OPS. 2 home runs in 18 games. Also has 9 RBIs, which is a good amount. The 0-2 in the dirt, 1-2. Still playing great defense over at third. The 1-2. Fouled back again, so count stays at 1-2. Yesterday, Arenado made a great barehanded play over at third base. But the offense was unable to capitalize enough to come back from that 4-1 deficit. He goes down and fouls off another 1-2 slider. Still a 2-strike count on Arenado. The 1-2. Inside, 2-2 now on Arenado. So a great at-bat here. Arenado is doing very well this season with 2 strikes, hitting .259 with just a 12.5% strikeout rate. As he reaches off and fouls off another. Having a 12.5% strikeout rate with 2 strikes is incredible. The 2-2 reaches out and flies it to center. Easy play for Taylor, and he will make the catch. 1 out now in the second. So the Cardinals still looking for their first base runner midway through the lineup here. Let's see if Donovan can get that done. Brendan Donovan hitting .373 this season with a .940 OPS and 2 home runs. Very good against breaking balls. First pitch, fastball in there for a strike right down the middle. The 0-1. Inside with the four seam, 1-1. The 1-1. Fastball crushed up the middle for a base hit, and there is the first Cardinals base runner. So Donovan continues his hot streak. That's going to extend his hitting streak to 14 games in a row. Excellent job by Donovan in all aspects this season. And he raises that batting average to .382. You just hope he can keep it up for the full length of the season because he's been incredible. So Donovan on first. 1 on, 1 out for Walker. First pitch is in the dirt. 1-0. Walker hitting .239 with a .644 OPS. Started out hot, has cooled off a little bit since then, but you'd hope to see him pick it up. The 1-0 pitch from David Peterson. Fastball on the outside corner, 1-1. Jordan Walker's been the everyday right fielder for the Cardinals this season. 18 of 20 games. Here's the 1-1. In there once again, lower outside corner, 1-2. So they threw the same pitch twice there. Walker unable to pull the trigger either time. And Peterson is set to deliver the 1-2 pitch to Jordan Walker. Slider in the dirt. Walker holds off, 2-2. Walker probably just swinging a lot less this season, but he is taking more of those off-speed and breaking pitches, so there's a big benefit to that. He's seeing a lot of pitches, can choose his pitch. Here's the 2-2 pitch from Peterson. Slider below the zone, swing and a miss, and Walker goes down. So is he just taking more pitches, or is he seeing the ball better? This at-bat didn't really help us with that. He was unable to go down and get that one. So that's going to be a strikeout for Peterson. His second of the game. And that brings up Thomas Saggese, who's hitting .455 in a limited sample size this year. First pitch to him is fastball right on the outside part of the plate, 0-1. Saggese has 10 hits in 9 games this season. 1 home run and 5 RBIs. The 0-1 pitch. Hard hit ball to right field, and that'll send Donovan all the way to third on a base hit. So runners at the corners now with 2 outs. Great job by Saggese. Absolutely slapped that ball to right field. No chance for Alonso. Tried to go to the outside corner. That's what Peterson did, and Saggese waited for it, barreled it up through the hole. Almost hit Donovan. It was hit so hard. And now with runners at the corners, it will be Pedro Pajes, the Cardinals catcher. Comes into the game hitting .250 with a .676 OPS and 1 home run in 14 appearances. This will be pitch number 32 from David Peterson. He delivers. In there for a strike on the outside corner. It did miss a little up and away, and Pajes is having a discussion with the ump about that, but he extended the zone for that one, and it's 0-1. The 0-1 pitch to Pajes is taken for a ball, even though that one was in the zone. So inconsistency from the ump there. 1-1 on Pajes. They went to the lower outside corner with the sinker on that pitch. Here's the 1-1 from Peterson. He did not go. On a check swing, change up outside, 2-1. So a big next couple of pitches. If the count goes full, the runners would be on the move. But we're still 2 pitches from that. As Torrens gets set behind the plate once again. And here's the 2-1 pitch to Pedro Pajes. Peterson delivers. Hard ground ball through the right side for a base hit, and the Cardinals will take a 1-0 lead here in the second. Very slow roller through the right side of the infield, but nobody was over there. So the Cardinals take a 1-0 lead in the second on a single from Pedro Pajes. Pajes just waited for that changeup to travel low in the zone, put the right spot of the bat on it, and no one was able to recover. Very, very slow hit ball, but hit just hard enough to be a base hit. So now it's first and second for Michael Ciani with a 1-0 lead in the second. Here's pitch 36 of the game from David Peterson. Ground ball to the right-hand side, scooped up by Alonso, and he gets there. So midway through the second, the Cardinals now have a 1-0 lead as they scraped together a run on a few singles. 1-0. It'll be Vientos, Nimmo, and Torrens when we come back, and I'm going to take a quick break. All right, great job by Mikolas, getting through a full inning there. I just had to grab some stuff there. Let's see if anyone... Okay, we have someone in the chat, a live viewer. All right. Feel free to leave a comment if you are here right now. I do read the chat. And we can check out some more stuff right now. Victor Scott will be due up for the Cardinals, so let's take a look at what he's done. And I'm going to grab my drink real fast. All right. So Victor Scott this season has a 710 OPS. He's one of the best base runners and fielders in the league. Below average on the batting side, mostly because he's not hitting the ball super hard. And he doesn't have super strong arm either, it looks like. But other than that, very, very good player. And once he gets on base, that's where the value can come on the offensive side. So hopefully he can reach at the top of the order in this one, as we're going to be live right now. David Peterson threw 2 innings, 1 earned run so far in this one. And Victor Scott will come up first. Let's look at Mikolas. Gave up just 1 hit, so he had a 1-2-3 inning through last inning. I was unable to see that as I had to grab all my stuff. But here we are in the top of the 3rd. First pitch to Scott is a curveball in there for a strike. So it's an interesting strategy by Marmol to lead off with these 3 hitters. But here is the 0-1 from Peterson. Swing and a miss, slider low and outside, 0-2. But yeah, Scott, Baker, and Contreras have been worse objectively than Arenado, Donovan, and Sajacy. But here's the 0-2. Slider low and away, 1-2 now. So you could have led Sajacy, Donovan, Arenado. But I guess then you're packing all of those guys at the top of the order. So I wonder if there's some strategy to this. Here's the 1-2. Fastball above the zone, 2-2. Peterson is set. Here's the 2-2. Fouled away. Still 2-2 on Victor Scott. The 2-2 once again. Swing and a miss on a slider, and Victor Scott goes down. So he's 0 for 2 today. Had a fly out back in the 1st, and now a strikeout in the 3rd. That strikeout is the 3rd of the game for Peterson. And that'll bring up Luken Baker. Platoon power bat for the Cardinals. Limited sample size this season. I believe he's still looking for his first homer of the year. As Peterson misses outside with a changeup, 1-0. Yep, no home runs yet this season, hitting .269. The 1-0 pitch. In there for a strike with the 4-seam low and in, 1-1. The OPS sits at .691, so right around league average for Baker. Here's the 1-1. Fastball fouled back, 1-2. It's always nice when you can platoon at the DH or first base position. So that's where the power is supposed to come around the league. As the 1-2's above the zone, check swing did not go. 2-2 count now on Baker. Peterson is set and fires. Slider outside, called strike 3. Baker didn't like it. We'd need to see the 3D view to know if that one caught the zone. Didn't quite look like it, but it's close enough that you should have probably finished your swing on that one. So strike 3 on Baker, and there's 2 down in the third. That'll bring up Wilson Contreras. Having a rough year so far. First pitch in there with the curveball, 0-1. Contreras does have a home run this season, but hitting just 137 with 411 OPS. The 0-1 fouled off his foot, 0-2 now. Somehow Contreras was able to get to 7 RBIs already on the season. Probably a lot of that has to do with hitting second or third for most of the games. As a guy like Newt Barr is always in scoring position, Mason Wynn, Victor Scott stealing bases. When everybody's in scoring position, you'll pick up RBIs just by proximity. But Peterson about to deliver his 50th pitch of the game on this 0-2 count to Contreras. Contreras has struck out 53% of the time with 2 strikes. Here's the 0-2. Above the zone with the fastball, now 1-2. When Contreras reaches 2 strikes, his average falls to .065 on the year. With just 2 RBIs. Here's the 1-2. Swing and a miss. And it was a curveball in the dirt. He's going to make them put him out at first, and they do. So that's the 4th strikeout of the game for Peterson, and we're midway through the third, 1-0. So Contreras continues to struggle this season, even against lefties, which surprises me the most. You often see a right-handed guy struggle to see the ball against one side or the other, mostly against other righties. But in those platoon matchups, I mean, we saw it with Pujols. He could always still see the ball really well against lefties, even really late into his career. I mean, Pujols is still, one of the best hitters of all time, so it might not be the easiest comparison to live up to, but Contreras has been a very respectable hitter throughout his career, so you just expect him to be able to at least hold that standard against lefties, but he's just been out of sorts this whole season. It'll be Brett Baty, Tyrone Taylor, and Francisco Lindor. I'm curious what Brett Baty has been up to. So he's been a way below average hitter, but a very solid fielder and base runner. And that looks to be consistent with last season as well. We can take a look, though. He didn't even qualify last season. Alrighty. Oh, he was just straight up poor in 2023. It's not great. Does have a lot of bat speed, though, so you could see that turn into something eventually. Does swing and miss a lot, strikes out a lot, walks never. 0? Is it has he not walked at all season? On base, I mean, there's some sort of difference between on base and average. Oh, not this season though. Yep. Wow, no walks this season for Baty. That's crazy. 43 at bats, 43 plate appearances. We'll see if that changes as the first pitch misses from Mikolas. So here's an opportunity for Baty to walk. He already has the 1-0 count advantage. Here's the 1-0. Below the zone, 2-0. So maybe we're jinxing it already. Let's see if Brett Baty has a walk in him. So far, 209 average, 209 on base. Here's the 2-0. In there for a strike right at the bottom of the zone, 2-1. Baty has a rather tall batting stance. Gives him a very tall zone. For Mikolas to put the ball into, here's the 2-1. Above the zone, missed with the slider, and it's 3-1 on Baty. If I'm Baty here, I'm probably just taking 2 pitches and hoping you can catch ball 4. get that first walk of the season out of the way in game number 15. Here's the 3-1. Ball 4. So there you go. Beatty draws his first walk of the year. I set him up for that one, didn't I? Hopefully Mikolas can attack the zone against Tyrone Taylor and work his way out of this. Taylor hitting just 174 on the year with a 4.25 OPS, but he does have a good history against the Cardinals from what I remember, so hopefully they can manage Taylor here. The first pitch is a square around a bunt, but he pulls back on a slider out of the zone, 1-0. So that must have caught Mikolas a little off guard. And he missed. He shook his head after the pitch. 1 on, nobody out. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Squares around. Pages unable to throw out Beatty on a stolen base. And it's a 2-0 count with a runner on second now for the Mets. So a big opportunity for the Mets to tie this game up now. And also a great count for Tyrone Taylor. Taylor playing in his 14th game of the year. And Mikolas is set. Here's the 2-0. Fastball in there for a strike, 2-1. So Mikolas hopefully settling into this inning a little bit. Taylor hitting 2 for 12 with runners in scoring position on the year. The 2-1. Slider hangs in, hangs in the middle of the zone. I thought he hit that very hard, so I was prepared to call that for like a double, but it actually lofted off the top of his bat out to shortstop, and so JC made an easy catch. So there's 1 out now in the 3rd with that runner on second. So unable to move the runner over. That means Mikolas has a decent chance to get out of this with no damage, but he'll have to do it against Francisco Lindor and Juan Soto. Lindor is 0 for 1 with a flyout, stands at the plate now. Strike 1, up and in with the fastball. So Mikolas doing pretty well at commanding his pitches against the top of the order. Just couldn't find the zone earlier this inning. Lindor calls time. And steps back into the box. Mikolas at pitch 33 here in the 3rd. And it's a slow curveball curling back in for a strike on the outside corner. Beautiful pitch from Mikolas. One of those Wainwright curves, rainbowing in there for the strike. And it's 0-2. Here's the pitch. Above the zone, 4-seam, popped up. Shallow left field, easy play for Victor Scott, and he makes the catch, and there's 2 outs now in the 3rd. So just Soto left for Mikolas. If he can get that out, he'll strand this runner on second. After surrendering the first walk of the year to Brett Beatty. First pitch now to Soto. Hard hit ball to the right-hand side, but Contreras scoops it up and touches first base, and we're through the 3rd. 1-0 Cardinals after 3. And it'll be Nolan Arenado, Brendan Donovan, and Jordan Walker in the 4th. So 4, 5, 6 will bat again, as the top of the order has produced nothing of note in this one. But the bottom part of the order has been excellent. So maybe Marmol wanted to get these guys some more looks while the bottom of the order churned out what they normally do and keep everyone comfortable in their lineup spot. Donovan's been hitting either 3 or 5 all season. So against the lefty, you put him back down at 5, keep him comfortable. Arenado's been 4 all year. Sajasi at 7, Pages at 8, Ciani at 9. It makes sense from that perspective, but Scott Baker Contreras just hasn't been money at the top of the order so far this year. But they have produced a run in this one through the bottom of the order, so let's see if that keeps up. We could look at some of the Mets standard statistics here. Is Vientos in the lineup today? Or is he getting a day off? He was very, very good last game. He is in the lineup. Oh yeah, he hit during the inning that I was not in the room. That makes sense. Alrighty. All right. Let's see who they have available on the bench. Hayden Sanger, Luis Angel Acuna, Jose Azucar, and Starling Marte. So, good range of options off the bench. They're starting their main guys in this one. And Peterson starts off Arenado with a fastball for a strike, 0-1. So I'm going to catch us up here. Here's the 0-1. In there for a strike, low and away, 0-2. And here's the 0-2. Hard hit. Great diving stop at third base, and the throw is wild. So Arenado's going to reach after a hard hit ball between third base and short is misplayed by Vientos. Vientos threw the ball about 5 feet above the head of the first baseman. Alonso unable to get that one. He is a very big man, but not that big. So Arenado reaches, and that will bring up Donovan with one on and nobody out here in the fourth. The first pitch from Peterson is a slider in there for a strike. So it's 0-1 on Donovan. He was able to single back in the second, hard hit ball up the middle, and score a run. The only run of the game so far. Here's the 0-1 pitch from Peterson. Fastball, chopped foul, 0-2. Donovan is hitting .470 during this 14-game hit streak, with 9 RBIs, 7 extra base hits, and 7 runs. So about 1 extra base hit every 2 games. The 0-2. Chopper, short to first base. Alonso makes the play to second and gets the force at second. So a great play to get the lead runner. And it'll go down as a fielder's choice for Brendan Donovan. So he'll fall to 1 for 2 on the night. And that'll bring up Jordan Walker with 1 out and 1 on now in the fourth. Walker is 0 for 1 with a strikeout today. Here's the first pitch from Peterson. Missed low and away with the fastball, 1-0. So it's Donovan on first. For some reason, he's a guy who steals bases a lot despite not being that fast. So you don't really expect to see it here regardless, as Peterson misses low with the changeup, 2-0. Mainly because Peterson's a lefty, so he could probably see you. You don't really get that type of jump that you would get off of a righty. Here's the 2-0 now to Walker. Swing and a miss on the changeup, 2-1. That is one massive advantage of having a left-handed pitcher in today's climate, preventing those stolen bases with that disengagement rule. And those bigger bases. Here's the 2-1. In the dirt, 3-1 now as Donovan tries to take second and does. As the ball skipped past Beatty at second. And Donovan was able to advance on a ball in the dirt. So maybe that's why I think Donovan steals more bases. He takes advantage of when the ball gets away as much as he can. And right there, he could have been gunned down. It was a very good throw. Just an awful play by Beatty, and he was unable to corral it. He was on a hop, though, so not an easy play. Here is the 3-1-2 Walker. Hard hit ball to the right-hand side. Through. Gets past Alonso. Donovan rounds third, and he will score. And it is 2-0 Cardinals in the fourth. So what a turn of events. Beatty unable to corral that throw to second. Very next pitch rocketed through the right field side. And Walker has an RBI single. Donovan came around to score on what was a changeup on the outside part of the plate. So that'll bring up Thomas Saggese with Walker on first, and the Redbirds up 2-0. Saggese has a 1.11 OPS on the year, 478 average, but a limited sample size. Despite that, it really does look like he's coming into his own as a big league hitter. And that's why he's been very, very exciting to watch. The first pitch to Saggese from Peterson. Swing and a miss. Swinging for the fences on that one, a little bit behind it. 0-1. Peterson already at his 63rd pitch of the game. And it comes here on the 0-1 to Thomas Saggese. Hard hit ball foul. He was a little late on that one. And it's 0-2 now. So no balls, 2 strikes, top of the fourth inning with 1 out. Cardinals Mets. The Cardinals lead 2-0 in the fourth. The 0-2 pitch to Saggese. Fouled back up against the backstop there. 0-2 remains the count. Here's the 0-2 pitch from Peterson. Swing and a miss over the slider, came low and in on Saggese, and he was unable to get down for that one. Swung right over it, and there's 2 outs now in the fourth for Pedro Pages. Pages does have an RBI single in this one. And he has another chance with a base runner here in the fourth. It is Walker on first. The pitch from Peterson is popped up and out of play. 0-1 on Pages. Pages hitting .267 on the year with a .705 OPS and a homer. Playing him to pull a little bit, but not a dramatic shift. Here is the 0-1. Fastball fouled back, 0-2. And when I say shift at this point, what I mean by that is positioning within the rules. Like the new rule, obviously you can't have 3 guys on one side of second base, but you can still play the guys as close to the bases as possible. And they're not quite doing that against Pages, but they are playing him to pull to some extent. Here's the 0-2. Check swing on the curveball. He did go, and that is the 3rd out of the 4th. But the Cardinals were able to add to their lead, and it's 2-0 after a Jordan Walker single brought in Brendan Donovan, who had some heads-up base running on the play before. So 2-0, and that'll bring Mikolas out to face the middle of the Mets order. It'll be Alonso, Winker, and Vientos. So let's look at Winker. 39 plate appearances, so 4 walks. 200 batting average for a .656 OPS, no home runs. It's impressive to get to a .656 OPS on the 200 average. Must have some extra base hits in there. walked a lot last season. And back in 2021, he was very, very good at WOBA and expected WOBA. So hard hit balls, home runs, a lot of home runs probably. His pull air percentage is 32% this season. That's a very interesting stat. That's arguably too high. He kind of hit the sweet spot with that back in 2020 at 20.2. But we'll see. Does have a triple off the top of the wall in this season. And we'll see what Mikolas has for him now in the bottom of the fourth. First pitch to Alonso is inside with the curveball, 1-0. Alonso is 1 for 1 with a triple in this one. Hit it off the wall. As a sinker is in there at the bottom of the zone, 1-1. Yeah, back in the first, he hit it off the wall. It skipped past Ciani, who had to run out and get it. And by then, Alonso was rounding second and was able to make it to third. Here's the 1-1. Inside with the fastball, 2-1 here in the fourth. Alonso is the first hitter for the Mets in the bottom of this fourth inning. He's hitting .353 on the year with a 1.178. Here's the 2-1. Missed way outside with the curveball, and it's 3-1. So Mikolas at risk of walking the first hitter for the second straight inning. The 3-1 pitch to Alonso. Missed outside with the sinker, and Alonso does walk, so he'll reach. And that'll bring up Jesse Winker with 1 on and nobody out in the fourth. If Mikolas can get settled in, then the Cardinals' rotation will be not as bad as everyone was expecting at the start of the year. First pitch to Winker is a slow curveball in there for a strike, 0-1. If you look at what the rotation was coming in, I mean, I made a video about it. I was like, Sonny Gray is for sure. Fedde and Palante are probably going to be good. And then Mikolas and Liberator were question marks. Here's the 0-1. Popped up. Looks like it will be in play for Pedro Pajes, who makes the catch along the third base line. So 1 out now in the fourth, and that will bring up Mark Vientos, the Mets third baseman. But yeah, as I was saying, Mikolas and Palante, well, not Palante, Mikolas and Liberator, and now Matz seem to be question marks, but Matz has kind of settled into a role. So if Mikolas can get settled in, then you have 5 guys you don't feel bad about lining up behind. As here's a hard hit ball to right field, but Walker able to range back and make the catch. And Alonso has to retreat to first. So runner on first, 2 outs now in the fourth for Brandon Nimmo. Nimmo hitting .192 on the year with a .647 OPS. So if you have a rotation that you can get behind, and the bullpen has a guy like Helsley, with a few very solid options like Maton and Leahy, then the whole team pretty much looks to be good enough to make the playoffs. But there are a lot of ifs there. You really hope everybody can stay consistent here. First pitch to Nimmo. Curveball outside, misses, 1-0. One of those things you don't expect from Mikolas is to be handing out any free passes, but handing one out to Alonso this season doesn't seem to be the worst thing in the world. As Alonso's been an excellent hitter. With his OPS above 1,000, it almost seems beneficial to walk him, but obviously you don't expect it to stay at 1,000 all season. And that's what you should be using to make the decision, which is why you don't see everybody walking him right now. Here's the 1-1. Missed way outside with a changeup, 2-1. Nimmo is 2 for 20 in his career against Mikolas, one of the few Mets who have struggled against him. The 2-1 pitch is a swing and a miss over the slider. That one was in the zone, but right at the bottom of it. And it's 2-2. Two outs, one on, 2-2 pitch. Missed outside with the curveball, and it's 3-2, so Alonso will be on the move with this next pitch. He moves his hair into his helmet, because he knows he'll be running. The 3-2 pitch from Mikolas to Nimmo. Fouled back, and we'll have to do it again. So Alonso getting a little bit of cardio in. Nimmo this season has a 37.8% strikeout rate when the count reaches 2 strikes, and a 0.30 average in these situations, so that's probably about 1 hit on the year. Alonso moves, ground ball, and it's through for a base hit, so Alonso will easily coast to third, and it's 1st and 3rd with 2 outs now in the 4th. That'll bring up Luis Torrens with a chance to drive in some runs for the Mets, at least one, with Alonso standing on third base at the start of this next at-bat. First pitch of the at-bat to Torrens. Mikolas delivers. Popped foul, 0-1. That was a sinker in on the hands. Torrens is hitting .250 with 1 home run and a 714 OPS on the year. Those are some very solid stats for a catcher. Here's the 0-1. Instead, Mikolas checks on Nimmo at first. So it is still 0-1. Torrens is hitting 4 for 11 this season with runners in scoring position. Very good .364 average. Here's the 0-1. Popped foul once again, and that one will get out of play and into the seats. So it is 0-2 on Torrens with runners at the corners and 2 outs. So we'll see if Mikolas can improve his strikeout rate on this next pitch. Maybe an outside sinker to catch him off guard. Who knows? The 0-2 to Torrens. Curveball in the dirt. Pajes right out there to make sure nobody advances, and it's 1-2. The 1-2 pitch to Luis Torrens. Instead, Mikolas checks on Nimmo. Might be the second disengagement of the at-bat. He's going to need to be careful from here. Nimmo might be able to move. I wouldn't worry about a stolen base on this next pitch. Just try to get the out. Here's the 1-2. Pitch out, and nobody moving. So a very, very strange pitch out. I understand the thought process, but a pitch out just costed you a strike, and now it's a 2-2 count with 2 runners on and 2 outs to a decent hitter in Torrens. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Ground ball, foul out of play, and it will be another 2-2. Mikolas has thrown 20 pitches in this inning after just 12, 10, and 13 in the first 3 innings. Hopefully he can put one in the zone here and get out of this. Here's the 2-2. Inside fastball, fouled away once again, and it's still 2-2. So a great at-bat from Torrens so far. Making Mikolas work. Does have a home run on the year. Here is the 2-2 once again. Slider at the top of the zone, fouled away. Torrens could do this all day. But I would prefer if he didn't. He has a .715 OPS. Where's number 13? Here's the 2-2 pitch. Ground ball, foul again. So a fantastic job by Torrens extending this at-bat. Feels like one of those old Matt Carpenter at-bats. As Mikolas has thrown 8 pitches already. This will be the 9th of the at-bat with just a 2-2 count on Torrens. One of those pitches was a pitch out. Looks like they're going to go inside. They go above the zone. He does chase, but fouls it back. So Torrens will take this at-bat to 10 pitches, all by his own foul balls. Torrens is 0 for 1 today. But it feels like he already won in this at-bat. Here's the 2-2. Slow curveball in there for strike 3, and Mikolas does walk away with the strikeout. But it took him an extra 10 pitches to get there. 2-0 St. Louis after 4. So after all of that, Mikolas was able to get his first strikeout of the game. Does have 2 walks on the day. And his pitch count is up to 60. But Peterson's thrown more pitches than Mikolas. He is at 69, but he works a lot faster. It will be Ciani, Scott, and Baker for the Cardinals in the 5th. Ciani's a guy I want to look at from last year. I don't think I have yet. He was not a qualified hitter last season, and yet he was 96th percentile in fielding run value, so he did play enough in the field. 99th in outs above average, out in center. So he's one of the best defensive center fielders you can get, but not a lot of value with the bat. Negative 18 runs to be exact last time around. This year he's been a lot better, but still -1. Expected batting average sitting at 322 though, so that's something to look at. Maybe he's still hitting the ball pretty hard. As here we are in the 5th, so we get to watch Ciani right now. As the camera's showing Brant Brown, the Cardinals hitting coach. First pitch to Ciani is a curveball at the bottom of the zone for a strike, 0-1. Ciani did square around to bunt as the pitch was being released, but pulled it back, and it's 0-1. The pitch from Peterson. Chopped foul, 0-2. Ciani hitting .231 with a .517 OPS. 0 for 1 today. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Swing and a miss, slider at the bottom of the zone, and he goes down on strikes. First strikeout of the game for Ciani. And that is the 8th of the game for Peterson. So a very impressive number of strikeouts from Peterson, despite giving up the 2 runs so far in this one. Here's the pitch to Scott. Curveball in there for a strike. 0-1. The 0-1 pitch to Scott is a sinker. That one in on the hands and forced a foul ball. 0-2. So it's a good job by Peterson. Getting ahead in the count against Victor Scott. Let's see what he does to try to finish him off. The 0-2 pitch. Slider right down the middle. Scott fouled it away. It's still 0-2. So I imagine that one missed its intended location. Maybe he was trying to go a little further in with that and catch him off guard. The 0-2 pitch now to Scott. Sorry, that was a slider, low and away, 1-2. Scott hitting .258 with a .700 OPS. And he crushes one, but it's caught at first base by Alonso. Great play at first base from Alonso there. Was able to jump up with his glove and catch the rocket off the bat of Victor Scott. So 2 down with nobody on for Luke and Baker here in the 5th. First pitch to Baker is low with the curveball, 1-0. Peterson's thrown 78 pitches on the day. But Baker is 0 for 2 with a lineout and a strikeout. The 1-0. Swing and a miss on the changeup below the zone, 1-1. The 1-1 pitch is a fastball at the top of the zone, blew it right by him, and it's 1-2 on Luke and Baker. So Peterson trying to get through this inning 1-2-3. Let's see if Baker lets him. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Fastball up and in, just inside, 2-2. Baker still looking for that first home run. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Curveball down, but the ump says that Baker did not go, and the count is now full with 2 outs here in the 5th inning. On deck would be Wilson Contreras. He will hit if Baker reaches. As Baker fouls back that fastball at the top of the zone. Still 3-2. Peterson about to deliver his 84th pitch of the game. He delivers, and Baker pops it up, and it's into the seats. Still 3-2. Number 23, Peterson, delivering to number 26, Baker. The 3-2 pitch. Fouled away once again. So Baker able to keep the count full. For quite a few pitches now. It's been 8 pitches this at-bat. Here's pitch number 9 to Luken Baker. In there for strike 3 with a beautiful slider. Baker unable to track that one. And we're midway through the 5th. 2-0 St. Louis. It'll be Beatty, Tyrone Taylor, and Lindor for the Mets in the 5th. Mikolas will come into the inning with 60 pitches, 40 strikes thrown. Just 2 hits allowed. Also 2 walks, though. While we're here, I mean, Lindor is going to come up. I've already looked him up, but you might as well see it. See some red on here. Lindor, 86th percentile in fielding. Sorry, in base running. 74th in fielding and 55th in batting. But an 86th percentile expected batting average. Doesn't whiff. Hasn't walked too much, but I bet that'll change over the course of the year. And let's see what he does over a full season. There you go. 92nd percentile hitting, 89th percentile base running, and 96th percentile fielding. So just elite across the board from Lindor. He's a war machine. And you expect nothing less. All right, the game is back. Half of Mikolas' outs has been recorded with the slider in this one. And a couple more with the curveball. So a lot of good movement on most of his out pitches. 7 of these outs have been flyouts or pop-outs, 4 groundouts, and 1 strikeout. The 0-1 to Beatty. Swing and a miss on the curveball below the zone. 0-2. Beatty called time. Steps back in now. Did draw his first walk of the season last time up. Here's the 0-2. Way up and away, 1-2 on Beatty. Mikolas just 4 base runners allowed in this one. The 1-2 pitch. Hard hit ball to right field, down the right field line and into the corner. Beatty rounds first. Looks like he's going to jog into second with an easy double to start off the 5th. So for the second time today, Beatty reaches scoring position before Tyrone Taylor puts the ball in play. Mikolas didn't like it. He hung that pitch out there. And Beatty was able to deliver it into the corner. So runner on second with nobody out here in the bottom of the 5th. The pitch, hard hit ball up the middle for a base hit. Siani has to range out and unable to get there, and that'll send the runner all the way around to third with a triple. So it's the second triple of the day for the Mets, and this game is one ground out away from being tied. So it seemed pretty inevitable with Mikolas. You had a pretty good start going, but you pitched to contact all day. Eventually, guys square it up, and Ciani was unable to cut that ball off. It would have been an incredible play if he had, but he made Walker go get it, and that's why it was such an easy triple for Taylor with nobody out in the fifth. So that'll bring up Lindor against Mikolas. It is the third time through the order now. In there for a strike with the changeup, 0-1. So you really hope Mikolas can get through the order at least one more time here. Start getting some more outs. I wouldn't worry about that runner on third. I think you just have to trust the offense to give you the lead again later on. The 0-1 popped up to right field. It's a play Walker can make and a throw he can make to the plate, and he does. And Taylor stays at third. So runner on third now with one out here in the fifth, with Juan Soto coming up. And the Cardinals will elect to bring the infield in here. We know Soto's a capable bunter, so maybe that's part of this. Although I doubt that's what they're thinking. I guess with one out and a runner on third, it's not a bad option. First pitch to Soto. Curve ball, looked like a strike, but did not get the call. 1-0. That one was on the inside corner. Definitely in the zone, but can't expect every pitch to be called correctly. He's been bad with runners on base this season. Here's the 1-0. Changeup smoked to right field for a base hit. Walker has to range out and get it. Soto trying to turn. Nope. Returns to first base as Walker would have gunned him down. But it's 2-2 now in the fifth after a Juan Soto single. So that's no surprise. You play the infield in for a guy like this, he's going to smoke it wherever you're not. I think that would have been a hit either way, so not too bad there. And Dusty Blake out to talk with Mikolas, with Soto on first, Alonso due up next. One on and one out in the fifth. Mikolas about to throw his 70th pitch of the game here in the fifth, so you expect him to get through this inning and maybe one more. Ideally limiting the damage to just the 2 runs here in the fifth. So that brings up Pete Alonso, who was 1 for 1 with a walk in this one. Ground ball to short, great diving stop, and so JC goes to second, and they say they got Soto at second. Let's see if that's the case. So JC made a great diving stop. I'm just not sure that Soto was actually out. Had to scoop the ball out of his glove. He was out. He might have gotten to the bag first, but he slowed himself down by sliding, and there's no doubt about it. Donovan caught that ball before the cleat touched. So 2 outs, 1 on here in the fifth for Jesse Winker, as Marmol goes out to get Mikolas right here. So we're going to bring in a lefty to face Winker, which makes a lot of sense. It'll be John King with just a 1 out to record. Mikolas does not have a great history against Winker. There is a runner on. I totally see why Marmol would do this, as this is a game the Cardinals would really love to win here in the fifth. So let's just grab John King's Savant page. No reason not to do that. .364 ERA in his career. .285 last season and a .540 this season. Hasn't been great on the year, but was above average last season, and that's kind of what I would expect out of him going forward. Still has that good breaking ball, still gets a lot of ground balls. It's just some of them have been hit hard this season. And when you compare that to last season, they were hit a little bit less hard. So it's a big thing to look at. Hopefully he can keep it soft here in the 5th. Well, we'll leave this up until the game comes back. All right, it's John King on to face Jesse Winker. Winker is 0 for 2 today. King did throw 13 pitches in yesterday's game. Here's the first pitch to Winker. Great pitch, sinker on the outside corner, but called a ball even though it's a strike. And it's 1-0. Crossed up the catcher, so that's probably why. Here's the 1-1. Sorry, that was the 1-0. Now it's 2-0 as another strike was called a ball. Unfortunate umping here. King does not like it, nor do I. The 2-0 pitch now from King to Winker. Right down the middle, but hit right at Donovan, and Donovan makes the catch for out number 3 in the 5th. So a couple unfortunate calls for King. Makes him give up hard contact, but that only affects the stat sheet in the expected category. As King gets out of the 5th, still 2-2. Mikolas did give up those 2 runs in the 5th inning. So just 4 2/3 from Mikolas. That's a little below what you would expect as far as innings go, but 2 runs through 5 innings, I mean, you can't really complain about that when you have a lineup like the Cardinals. So it'll be Contreras, Arenado, and Donovan. Peterson might have one more inning in him. He's at 86. So he's expected to go over 100 if he continues at the same pace here in the 6th inning. We'll see if he does. I mean, let's see how big the drop-off is for Contreras. Like, I don't want to do this, but this year, is he like 1? He is 1. He is the bottom of the batting value. And last year, he was 80th percentile. So 80th percentile down to 1st percentile. Didn't field enough to register as a fielder. It's night and day. It is night and day. Hopefully he figures it out. First pitch to Contreras from Peterson. Missed up and away. 1-0. Second pitch, in there for a strike with the curveball, low and away, 1-1. Contreras is 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts against Peterson. Here's the 1-1. Up and away now, 2-1. At least that's in the game today. In his career against Peterson, he is 1 for 10. Here is the 2-1. Inside, now it's 3-1 on Contreras, so maybe he'll be able to draw a walk here. He also probably has the green light if he sees a pitch he likes. Let's see what the 3-1 looks like. It is hit high and deep to left field by Contreras, and it is down right in front of the wall. Played off the wall perfectly, and it'll be a double for Wilson Contreras. Stand up double. So he saw a slider right down the middle of the plate, pulled it up against the wall, and was able to turn that into a double. He reached his hands out a little bit further than you might expect in order to pull that one to the warning track, and it bounced up against the wall, and Nimmo had to turn around and run after it. So Contreras is on second. Here's the first pitch to Arenado, who is 1 for 2 today. Fastball above the zone, a swing and a miss, 0-1. Arenado did have a single back in the fourth and is hitting .290 on the year with an .851 OPS. The 0-1 from Peterson. Low and away on the slider, 1-1. So runner on second with nobody out here in the sixth. Big chance for the Cardinals to go back on top. The 1-1 from Peterson to Arenado. In the dirt. And it's 2-1 now. The 2-1 pitch from Peterson to Arenado. Hard hit ball to left field. It's going to drop in front of Nimmo for a base hit. Contreras comes around and will score, and the throw is wild, which allows Arenado to take second. Did he? Looks like he didn't, so I don't know. On video, it didn't look like he did, but the graphic put him on second. He is not on second, just to be clear. Did hit a ball to left field there, though, and scored Contreras. So great job by Arenado, and it's 3-2 Cardinals here in the sixth. First pitch to Donovan. Fouled away. 0-1. The graphic still says Arenado is on second, so I'm going to go with that for now. There's nobody out. Nope, Arenado is on first. Okay, so I'm right about that. I do have good vision. It was the operator who was messing with it. All right, so Arenado on first. Nobody out. The 0-1 pitch to Donovan. A little low, 1-1. So Donovan hitting .377 with 2 home runs and a .942 OPS. He is 1 for 2 today as well. Here's the 1-1 pitch from Peterson. Caught the lower outside corner, 1-2. That was a perfect fastball. So Donovan a little bit behind in the count, but he's good with 2 strikes, so you can never count him out. This will be pitch 99 of the game for Peterson, which is about where most teams would stop their starter. Here's the 1-2. Chopped into the field of play. It's going to act as a sacrifice bunt as Arenado is able to advance to second base with 1 out here in the sixth. And that'll bring up Jordan Walker. As that'll be it for Peterson on the day. 99 pitches, 5 1/3, 3 runs allowed. As the Cardinals lead 3-2, and we'll see who they go to the pen to go get. So a great job by Peterson. Not his best work of his career, but 3 earned in 6 innings is not the end of the world. Could be 4, though, and it would look pretty bad if it was. So he is responsible for Arenado on second. Now let's look at their bullpen and see who they might go with here. So it is against righties here. They haven't used Stanek in this series, but it is right-handed hitting that's coming in for the Cardinals. So if I were them, this is going to be Kranick in this spot, because Stanek Can't believe they have two guys named Kranick and Stanek. Stanek is good against lefties as well, so I would rather use him for a full inning. Try to mix him against lefties and righties. Against two righties in this type of spot, you go to a guy like Kranick. Should get it done. But we'll see what they end up doing. It is Kranick, so there you go. So I really know what managers are thinking about in these spots, I guess. Obviously, it's just logical baseball decision making, so that's why it's predictable. Nobody wants to get fired. So it'll be Kranick against Walker. Kranick's been pretty good this season, a 1.54 ERA in 7 games with a 0.51 whip. First pitch to Walker. He is a strike, 0-1. That was a fastball on the lower outside corner. Well-placed pitch there from Max Kranick. Here's the second pitch to Jordan Walker. Slider hit in the dirt down the first base line, but it's foul, 0-2. So Walker down in the count here. He did have an RBI single back in the 4th. Has another runner in scoring position now. But it's 0-2. With Arenado on second and 1 out. We have a timeout from Walker right before Kranick delivered the pitch. He can't be too happy about that. But Walker gets himself a breather. And he'll settle back into the box now. The 0-2 pitch to Walker. Low and away with the fastball, 1-2. Walker hitting .246 on the season. Here's the 1-2. Slider just a little outside, 2-2. So 1 out, 2-2 count. Arenado on second. Walker has 2 home runs on the year. And awaits the 2-2 pitch from Max Kranick. Here it is. Missed low and away with the slider, and it's 3-2 now. It is Thomas Saggese on deck, who has been excellent this year so far. 6th pitch of the at-bat, the 3-2 to Walker. Sweeper is popped up. Walker doesn't like it. A little frustrated with that outcome. It was a hanging slider right down the middle, but he popped it up to third, and an easy play was made at third base by Vientos. So that'll bring up Thomas Saggese with Arenado on second and 2 outs now in the top of the 6th. So far in this one, the Cardinals scored in the 2nd and the 4th. They've only scored 1 run at a time. The Mets got it all back in the bottom of the 5th, tied it up at 2-2. And then the Cardinals were able to go back on top 3-2 here in the 6th. First pitch to Saggese. Missed outside with a slider, 1-0. Arenado has a couple of singles in this one. The 1-0 pitch is swung on and missed by Saggese, 1-1. And Donovan has scored 2 runs in this game. Here's the 1-1 pitch now to Saggese. In the dirt with the slider, 2-1. So Arenado and Donovan have led the way in this one, as they usually do. But Sajaci has a chance to join the party amongst the leaders if he can get a hit in this situation. Hitting .458 on the year, the 2-1. Swing and a miss as the fastball gets right by Sajaci, and it's 2-2. Sajaci is 1 for 2 on the day with a home run in this season and 5 RBIs on the season. So he does have the capability to hit the ball out of the yard, but he hasn't done it since the trip to Fenway. Here is the 2-2 pitch from Kranick to Sajaci. Swing and a miss. Fastball low and away. Foul tip into the glove of Torrens. And we're midway through the 6th. 3-2 Cardinals. So John King was out there for the Cardinals back in the 5th, but he only got the 1 out. I think he might be done because Vientos, Nimmo, and Torrens are due up. I'm not sure. The Cardinals do have the lead, so that would pressure them to probably go with more of a right-handed option. Let's take a look. I mean, Torrens is righty, Vientos is righty. So, I mean, Fernandez is a great option here. But we already used him recently, I think. So maybe Leahy. We'll see between those two. Fernandez, Leahy, or they stick with King. It is going to be Leahy, so there you go. That probably has more to do with pitch count than matchups. And Leahy's a great pitcher, so I have no problem with that. Has a 1.54 ERA on the year. And Vientos is 0 for 2 today, so that's the first matchup of the 6th. Leahy's thrown 11 2/3 innings with a 1.54 ERA and a 0.51 whip. 40 pitches in the last 3 days, so it's a little frightening. First pitch to Vientos. In there with the slider for a strike, 0-1. The 0-1 pitch. Low and away with the sweeper, 1-1. So Vientos seeing a couple pitches. He's 0 for 2 with a ground out and a fly out in this one. The 1-1. Fouled back. That was a slider outside the zone. Went out and poked it behind him for strike 2. The 4th pitch to Vientos. Ground ball foul, still 1-2. Vientos sitting below 500 OPS on the year, despite the home run that he hit in yesterday's game to right field. The 1-2. Low and away with the fastball, now 2-2. Vientos was a valuable player for the Mets last season, so you expect to see that come back pretty soon. Slider low and away, fouled away once again, still 2-2. The 2-2 pitch now to Vientos. Fouled away again, so it's still 2-2. Good at bat from Vientos. This will be the 8th pitch of the at-bat. The pitch from Leahy. Above the zone, pulled deep to left field. He smoked that one, and it's gone. Second home run of the series for Vientos. Second home run in 2 days. And his second home run of the season. And it's 3-3. So the crowd going wild in New York, and it is 3-3 in the 6th. He went up and got a fastball above the zone, barreled it up to left field. He was pretty clear it was going to be gone the second he hit it, as Pajes had the same reaction as I did. So now it's 3-3. Next bat is Nimmo, and Leahy throws a strike, 0-1. Started him off with a fastball at the bottom of the zone, trying to attack. So Leahy's ERA goes up to 2.31 on the year. Here's the 0-1. Ground ball foul, 0-2. That was a slider below the zone. We'll see if Leahy can hold it right here and put it on the rest of the bullpen and the lineup to finish this one. The pitch to Nimmo. Hit the other way. It's pretty short, but a nice running grab is made by Victor Scott, and there's one out now in the 6th. So that'll bring up Luis Torrens, the Mets catcher. He is 0 for 2 with a strikeout today. Has a .699 OPS on the year. Fastball in there for a strike. Here's the 0-1. Hard hit ball to right field. Walker's back, but makes the catch on the track. And there's 2 outs now in the 6th for Brett Beatty. Beatty is 1 for 1 with a, was it a double? It was a double off the right field wall. Into the corner at least. And a walk. It was his first walk of the year earlier in this one. First pitch from Leahy. In there with the curveball for a strike, 0-1. Beatty also stole a base after the walk and scored a run. The 0-1 pitch to Beatty is up and away, 1-1. Here is the 1-1 pitch. Slider chopped to second base. Great job by Donovan, and a great job by Leahy to settle in after giving up the solo home run to Vientos, which tied this game here in the 6th, 3-3. Go back to the Cardinals in the 7th. So it'll be Pajes, Ciani, and Scott for the Cardinals in this tie ball game. So that is righty, lefty, lefty. So this is where you might want to go Stanek. So you could go from Kranick to Stanek here. Maybe they stick with Kranick, then go to Stanek after the first guy. You could also just go to Minter for the second day in a row. Wouldn't really recommend that. Or Danny Young, if Danny Young is a solid pitcher. I guess we could check. Danny Young has 3 ERA on the year. in 6 innings with 6 strikeouts and a 1.5 whip. So he's not getting any strikeouts. Well, I guess he is. He's just not getting any chase, so I guess he's catching guys looking. Really high ground ball percentage as well. So yeah, I could totally see him being the guy they go with. We can just figure it out. We don't know yet, okay? He was solid last season with a 4.54 ERA. Definitely an option. Other than that, Minter pitched yesterday. Maybe they go with him. But Stanek is a really good option to face a couple of lefties. Let's see what they do. For now, they are sticking with Max Kranick. Here's the first pitch to Pajes. Missed outside with the fastball, 1-0. So it looks like they're going to ride Kranick against the righty and maybe go lefty-lefty against Ciani. Or just see how far you can go. Either way, here's the 1-0. Popped foul, 1-1. Pajes is 1 for 2 on the day with a 261 average and a homer. Here is the 1-1. Missed up and away with the slider, 2-1 now. Kranick's 15th pitch of the game is this 2-1, which is popped foul, 2-2. So a lot of foul balls in this at-bat. Nothing put in play yet. Here's the 2-2 to Pedro Pajes. Fouled back again, and it's still 2-2. Pajes had an RBI single back in the second, as Kranick is about to throw his 17th pitch of the outing. I'm not sure what type of range this guy has, but it is 2 lefties coming up after Pajes. Here's the 2-2. Slider hung over the middle of the plate, but Pajes pops it up and Lindor settles under it for out number 1. So that'll bring up Michael Ciani. The wave going around Citi Field once again. You wonder which side that distracts more, the hitter or the pitcher. Ciani has no RBIs, no homers in this season yet. He's 0 for 2 with a ground out and a strikeout, and they'll leave Kranick in to face him. As Kranick misses up and away with the fastball, 1-0. Ciani, a great defensive center fielder. Here's the 1-0. Upstairs with the fastball, swung on and missed. 1-1. The 1-1 pitch to Ciani. He is in there with the curveball. Perfect pitch on the outside part of the plate. 1-2. The right-hander Kranick facing the left-handed Michael Ciani. With the 1-2 count, here's the pitch. Fouled back again, still 1-2. Playing Ciani to pull. Third baseman a little off the bag there. Still covering a wide range there, though, so not a great bunting opportunity. As he did square around, even with 2 strikes, and it's 2-2 now. I didn't really expect that, but coincidences happen. Here is the 2-2 from Kranick to Ciani. He is set and fires. Right in there with the slider at the top of the zone for strike 3. So that's 2 straight outs for Kranick. And that'll bring up Victor Scott at the top of the Cardinals order with 2 outs and nobody on in the 7th. You would expect to see a pinch hitter coming up after Scott if he's able to reach. Fouls off the first pitch. It was a slider inside, 0-1. Scott is 0 for 3 today with a flyout, a strikeout, and a lineout. So his average has fallen to 254 on the season. The 0-1 pitch from Kranick. Up and in, 1-1. Scott had to duck out of the way of that one. Kranick on his 26th pitch of the game. The pitch. Curveball hung out there, and Scott hit it hard, but caught by Kranick. Good reaction by the pitcher. And a good defensive play. So we're midway through the 7th. It's 3-3, and the Cardinals will go back into their bullpen. Let's see who they'll be facing. Looks like it'll be Tyrone Taylor, Francisco Lindor, and Juan Soto. So, with Lindor being a switch and Soto hitting from the left side, you could go to Romero here. I believe he's ready to go. He hasn't been great in close games this year, but that's where I would probably go here. It's been a little while since we've seen Romero. Could also stick with Leahy, try to face one guy in Taylor, then go to Romero. Or Leahy could even face Taylor and Lindor, try to keep Lindor on that left side. I don't know which side's better for him usually. But then definitely go to the lefty to face Soto. All right, Tyrone Taylor is here to face Kyle Leahy. Here's the first pitch. Missed low and away, 1-0. So Leahy stayed in the game now. Just to take this righty-righty matchup, I imagine. And maybe to face Lindor. Here's a 1-0. Hangs a slider, gets a pop-up. Easy play for Contreras at first, and there's 1 out now in the 7th. So good job by Leahy there. And Marmol's right back out of the dugout to go to the lefty. So I like that idea. Just take the righty-righty while it's here. And call it a day for Leahy. Bring in JoJo Romero. So exactly right by Marmol. Makes a lot of sense. I like his decision here. We'll see if it pays off. He really didn't waste any time. He was hustling right out of the dugout. Obviously, you go to your lefty, Romero. Facing a couple of lefties. Well, I mean, Lindor is going to be hitting from the right-hand side, but I think he's worse on the right side. And then you have Soto. So hopefully this game doesn't get to Alonso, as that's not part of the plan. If we have Romero versus Alonso, that would probably not be great. We'll have to see. So I'll just throw this back on here. It will be Lindor, who is 0 for 3. Jojo Romero's thrown 7 innings with a 3.86 ERA on the year. So that means he's probably allowed about 4 runs. Or sorry, 3 runs. On the year in those 7 innings. So Lindor switches over to the right-hand side. Let's see if Romero can take care of that. Lindor is 0 for 3 so far today. Maybe switching will help him out. First pitch to Lindor. In there for a strike. A perfect sinker from Romero. 0-1. The 0-1 pitch now to Lindor. Ground ball to the left-hand side. Arenado scoops it, makes the throw, and there's 2 outs now in the 7th. With nobody on for Juan Soto. 2 outs and nobody on. I think that's the best place you'd like to face Juan Soto. Although Alonso is on deck, so you can't be too careful with him. Just got to try to get this out. First pitch missed way outside, 1-0. Soto is 1 for 2 with a home run against Romero in his career. 3 RBIs. Here is the 1-0 pitch to Juan. Missed just low and away with the slider, 2-0. So that's not ideal. Romero is set and delivers to Soto. Missed low and away again with the fastball. 3-0. With Alonso on deck, Romero would have to face Alonso if Soto is able to reach. And I would bet a lot of money that Soto's about to reach. Here's the 3-0 pitch to Juan Soto. In there for a strike on a bad call. It looked like ball 4. Soto was already off to first base. But he has to come back as it's a 3-1 count now. Romero is ready. He might be able to attack inside. Here's the 3-1. Slider right down the middle for a strike, and it's 3-2 now. So Soto tilts his head, realizes he's going to have to go to work here. Not just going to get a free pass unless it's on this pitch. The 3-2 as Romero gets set and fires. Top of the zone, fouled back, still 3-2. You almost have to attack inside with this umpire, as he was not giving Romero that outside edge, so if you attack Juan Soto inside, you do have a little bit of an expanded zone there. The 3-2 in the dirt with the slider, and Soto will take his walk. And Romero does have to face Alonso with Soto on first and 2 outs in the 7th. So this will be one of the more important at-bats of the game. Let's see what Romero can do. So after a quick meeting with Dusty Blake, Pete Alonso steps up to the plate. Two outs. Soto on first. The first pitch from Romero. In there for a strike right on the outside corner. Looked a little outside, but he has been giving that part of the plate. Here is the 0-1 to Alonso. They'll stay outside, missed slow and away with the changeup, 1-1. It'd be a good idea to maybe go up and in, as Alonso's really close to the plate here. They go low and away again. He fouls back the sinker, 1-2. Alonso recognizes that the zone is a little outside, crowding the plate a little bit here. Let's see if Romero uses some strategy. Here's the 1-2. Missed way outside with the changeup, 2-2. Pajes had to almost dive to get that one. And Alonso has seen a lot of outside pitches in a row. The 2-2 pitch to Pete. Missed way outside with the slider. Still a 2-strike count. Now the count is full with 2 outs, so Soto will be on the move. On the pitch. The 3-2 here in the bottom of the 7th. Missed way outside again, and Alonso reaches on ball 4. So it'll be Romero versus Winker, unless the Cardinals decide to go to a different pitcher. Marmol is going to come out of the dugout. So Romero's day is over. Did the Mets announce their next hitter? They did. So it was going to be Marte pinch hitting. And it'll be Phil Maton coming into the game for the Cardinals. So a very good choice. High quality pitcher. He has been excellent this season. Let's go ahead and take a look at what Maton has been up to. As he comes into the game in a tie game in the 7th with 2 on and 2 outs. So a 0.43 whip on the year, 9 1/3 innings pitched, no runs allowed in 10 appearances and 1 save. So 94th percentile in run value. Overall, very good fastball, very good breaking stuff. Good expected ERA. The expected batting average is good. It's not quite as great as everything else. Chase rate, 47th percentile. Did get barreled a little bit. Gave up very few ground balls, so that's not always good. But very, very good pitching overall. Low exit velocities, low WOBAs, low hard hit percentages. He's been good his whole career. And so the Cardinals go to him to face Marte in a huge spot in the 7th. Maton's only thrown 10 pitches in the last 3 days. He starts Marte out with a strike. Marte is 2 for 8 against mates on. That's 250. No home runs, no RBIs so far. Here's the 0-1. Popped up. Easy play in center field. And Ciani makes the catch. So we're through 7, and it's 3-3. After Maton just threw 1 pitch in that 7th inning, so you wonder if he can stay loose down below the dugout and come back out and pitch the 8th. But in the meantime, it'll be Baker, Contreras, and Arenado. So the Cardinals have 3 righties lined up. If the Mets go with a righty, they'll be able to pinch hit for Baker and probably for Contreras if they want to. Baker's currently in the DH spot, Contreras at first base. So if they wanted to, they could go Nootbaar DH and Burleson first base to face any righty that the Mets go with. But if you're the Mets, you're kind of forced to go righty so that you can face Arenado righty-righty. So let's see the Mets options. They could still go Stanek. Stanek's fantastic for this. Stanek would make so much sense because you'd have righty-righty against the righties, or Stanek, who's a specialist against lefties, going righty-lefty. So he would be a very good choice here. And I really don't see anything else that I would want to do if I'm them. It's a tie game. It's the 8th inning. Stanek's one of your better players. I think there's no doubt it's going to be Stanek here. Unless they want to stick with Kranick, but I doubt it. So let's get ready. Let's see who they go with. That looks like Stanek. And it is. So Ryan Stanek comes in to face Nootbaar. The Cardinals do pinch hit. Stanek starts him off with a slider, 1-0. So Nootbaar's day off is over. He is back in the game. The 1-0 pitch from Ryan Stanek to Lars Nootbaar. He is low and inside. 2-0 now. Stanek has a 0 ERA and 6 1/3 innings, 0.95 whip on the year. Here's the 2-0 pitch to Nootbaar. Fastball popped up. Lindor settles under it and makes the catch at shortstop. So 1 out now in the 8th for Wilson Contreras or potentially Burleson. They are going to stick with Contreras righty-righty, which makes sense against a guy like Stanek. The reason for that is Stanek has a very good changeup and a slider, and both of those are really good against left-handed hitting. And there's not a sweeper, so Contreras won't have the pitch he struggles with the most. Contreras is 1 for 3 today with a big double off the base of the wall. Here's the 1-0. Fastball in the dirt, 2-0. I think another reason Marmol might have left Contreras in is just to let him ride off that good hit last time up. You get an extra base hit, you give him more leeway to try to build off of that. Here's the 2-0. In there with a strike, 2-1. So it's 2-1 on Contreras. Let's see if he can see something to hit. Here's the 2-1 pitch from Stanek. Fastball right at the bottom of the zone, 2-2. The Cardinals are 8-4 at home and 1-6 on the road this season. Hopefully they can turn that around here. The 2-2 pitch from Stanek. Fastball fouled back at 100 miles an hour, still 2-2. Contreras did score a run after his 6th inning double. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Fouled off again. Still 2-2. That one was a splitter below the zone. A lot of right-handed hitters like seeing the splitter because you can see the spin on the ball change. You see those laces coming out of the hand. Let's see what Contreras can do here. The 2-2 pitch from Stanek. Fastball below the zone, and the count is now full. It will be Arenado on deck. He is 2 for 3 on the day. But first, here's the 3-2 pitch from Stanek to Contreras. In there for strike 3 at the bottom of the zone. Contreras had to pretend he was going to walk, but it was not ball 4. And it'll be Arenado now in the 8th. That was a perfect pitch from Stanek, right at 99, right at the base of the zone. Nothing Contreras could do about that other than swing. 2 outs now in the top of the 8th with nobody on for Arenado. First pitch in the dirt, 1-0. Arenado with a couple of singles today. Did have an RBI. Average up to 300 on the season. 2 home runs, 10 RBIs. 866 OPS. Here's the 1-0. Fastball in there for a strike. Upper outside corner. Donovan is on deck. Let's see what Arenado can do here in the 8th. The 1-1. In the dirt, check swing. He did not go. 2-1. Arenado is 2 for 3 with a home run in his career against Stanek. Another home run would be absolutely enormous for the Cardinals here. The 2-1. In the dirt with the slider. 3-1. So, Arenado ahead in the count there. The 3-1 pitch. Above the zone, hit high and deep to left field, but Arenado did not get all of that one. And it's an easy play in left for Nimmo. So midway through the 8th, it's 3-3. And it's back to the Mets. It'll be Vientos, Nimmo, and Torrens. I might be wrong about that. Let's see. Oh yeah, Nimmo and Torrens might have already hit. No, actually, I think I'm right. It is Vientos, Nimmo, and Torrens. And Maton. Excuse me. Maton only threw 2 pitches in the bottom half of the 7th, so he could come back out. It would be righty-righty, then righty-lefty, then righty-righty. So we can take a look at the Cardinals bullpen. It's either Maton or Fernandez. And I think you just stick with Maton. He only threw 2 pitches. And then you'd have Helsley in the 9th. With Fernandez in an emergency. Or in extra innings, which is not unlikely. As you only have one more inning to try to score a run. But it is the best part of the Cardinals lineup. So far in the game, it would be Donovan, Walker, Sajaci, Pajes, all of which have hits in this game. Vientos is due up first. He has 2 home runs in this series. Let's hope he doesn't continue off of that. First pitch, in there for a strike from Maton. So the Cardinals stick with Phil Maton. as we were hoping for. The 0-1 to Mark Vientos. Fastball in there. Strike two. That one was a cutter. So Maton's thrown nothing but strikes so far in this one. Timeout by Vientos. The 0-2 pitch. Curveball bounced foul just to the left of third base. And it's still 0-2. The 0-2 pitch from Maton to Vientos. Hard hit ball into the gap, but it's down and cut off by Scott in left. So 1 on and nobody out. Second hit of the day for Vientos. That one was a hanging slider from Maton, so not his best pitch. And Vientos was easily able to wrap his bat around that one. Drop it into the left center gap. Not hit hard enough to get to the wall, and that's why it's a single. Acuna comes in as a pinch runner for the Mets, as Brandon Nimmo steps up to the plate. Acuna with a big lead. Does not go. As the curveball's in there for strike one on Nimmo. Nimmo didn't even move for that pitch. One on, nobody out here in the eighth. The 0-1 pitch to Nimmo. Instead, Maton just checks on Acuna. Make sure he's on the bag there. Nimmo hitting 200 this season. Does have a single in this one. He's 1 for 3. 4 home runs already. And Acuna is 5 for 5 when attempting to steal. Here's the 0-1. He goes. Pajes with the throw. Not in time as Acuna is safe. And now there's a runner in scoring position with nobody out in the eighth. So Pajes just missed his throw. It was a play he could have made. Threw it hard, but just a little off. And the tag missed the foot. Great try from Donovan on that one. So it's 1-1 with a runner on second, nobody out. The pitch to Nimmo. In there for a strike, a nice curveball there. 1-2. You kind of have to play this like the ghost runner at this point. Don't let Nimmo advance him. Don't let him put a ball on the ground here. Try to get that strikeout low and away. Here's the 1-2. Fastball bounced to Arenado at third, and Acuna's going to try to steal third base, and he's out. A great play by Arenado. Got him on the second effort after Acuna slid past the bag. So Acuna with a crucial mistake for the Mets, and Arenado's able to tag him out at third. Was able to first get past the bag, fell off the base, and then was tagged as he reached for the bag. Now he's having a discussion with one of the coaches. As the Mets might challenge that, they are going to challenge the ruling at third base. But I believe he's out. So I don't think that's a very good challenge. It was a great heads-up play by Arenado. As Acuna fell off the bag and Arenado got him, as he tried to reach back over. The first tag attempt got his foot. Second time, Arenado was able to swipe up and get him. Let's see. He might have been out the first time. And if he wasn't, he might have been out the second time. I don't think there's indisputable evidence at all. You gotta call him out. The manager just saw something that made him have a reaction there. It looks like he was probably out. Cunha doesn't look too happy at third base either, so you got to estimate that he's out. Cunha sitting on third base. Let's see what the call will be. Long review here. Probably takes a lot of angles to try to figure this one out. If you're really looking to get it right, let's see. It stands, he is out. So there's now one out, runner on first in the bottom of the eighth. So that was a huge play there. Great job by Arenado. So instead of a ghost runner, now you just have a runner on first with one out in the eighth inning, and that's something Maton can work with. It'll be Luis Torrens, the Mets catcher, in the eighth. He is 0 for 3 with one strikeout today, hitting .239 with a .684 OPS on the year. The first pitch from Maton is delivered, and a strike right at the bottom of the zone, 0-1. Nimmo leads off. Here's the 0-1 pitch to Torrens. Ground ball behind the plate, 0-2. Nimmo on first, 0-2 count on Luis Torrens. The pitch from Maton. Way outside with the curveball, 1-2. Torrens stepped through home plate there to scratch some dirt on his cleats or something. Probably was leaning too far forward after that outside pitch. Here is the 1-2 now from Maton. Instead, he checks on the runner, and the ball gets away from Contreras, and Nimmo easily takes second base. So it's almost like a compromise after that third base out call that nobody really knows. So an unfortunate check by Maton. Threw it simply nowhere close to Contreras' glove. Nothing Contreras could have done there. He did hobble over the runner. So it could have been obstruction either way, but Nimmo got second, so no reasonable call there. So now it is 1-2 on Torrens. Here's the 1-2 from Maton. Low and away, fouled away. Still 1-2. That one was a sinker. Torrens is 4 for 12 with runners in scoring position on the season. 3 RBIs in these spots. Maton's ready. The 1-2. Cutter high, fouled away again, still 1-2. 1-2. Ground ball fair down the third base line into the corner. The Mets will take a 4-3 lead in the 8th on this double, and they're sending him all the way around. But he'll stop at second with a double. If Torrens had speed, it could have been a triple. So that is the first earned run allowed by Maton this season. On a hard grounder inside the third base bag. Got into the corner and got stuck at the base of the wall. Nothing the fielders could have done about that. Just a hanging slider. And Torrens did not miss it. The pitch to Beatty. Fastball with a cutter. Up in the zone, 0-1. So the Cardinals will need to come back in the 9th. The 0-1 pitch to Beatty, swing and a miss on the curveball, 0-2. This would be a really crushing loss once again for the Cardinals if they can't come back. A lot of close one-run losses this season, especially in the late innings with the bullpen on the field. Here's the 0-2 to Brett Beatty. Slider fouled off his leg, still 0-2. Donovan playing Beatty to pull. Here is the 0-2 pitch. Maton threw a perfect curveball on the outside corner. Did not get the call, and it's still, well, now it's 1-2 on Beatty. Should have been strike 3. Oh well, here's the 1-2 once again to Beatty. Strike 3 on the inside corner. That one was a ball, but doesn't matter. It's just a makeup call. And that's a strikeout. So there's a runner on second now for Tyrone Taylor with 2 outs in the 8th. Now here comes Tyrone Taylor. The first pitch from Maton. Low and away, 1-0. Torrens on second. The 1-0 pitch to Tyrone Taylor. In there for a strike with the sinker, 1-1. Maton's thrown 23 pitches in the game. Done a pretty good job overall. Just gave up a couple of bad pitches there, a couple of bad sliders. Here's the 1-1. That's a perfect slider. Doesn't get the call. 2-1. So this umpire just had a little bit of an outside zone from the right-handed hitter perspective. Here's the 2-1 pitch to Taylor. Ground ball. Arenado grabs it, makes the throw to first, and that's the third out of the 8th. So despite a great defensive play by Arenado, the Mets are able to add 1 run, and the game is on the line now, headed to the top of the 9th. It'll be Donovan, Walker, and Sajasi. So, I mean, those are 3 good hitters, but they're going to be facing a closer. Very solid closer in Edwin Diaz. You got to make him throw strikes. And if he does, you got to crush him over the fence. I mean, that's all that it is. When the guy throws hard like that, first you got to make sure he's throwing strikes, because sometimes they'll beat themselves. Put the winning run at the plate, put the tying run on base. If Donovan can reach, I mean, first of all, he could hit a homer. I mean, a guy like Diaz supplying the power, that's one option. But if Donovan can reach at all, I would just send him, try to steal a base, keep applying pressure. And then Walker can just stick the bat out, try to get a single, let the pitches supply the power. Same thing with Sajacy. Sajacy's a guy who could definitely hit a single against a guy like Diaz, maybe even a double. Four-three ball game in the ninth. We are back. They do not go to Diaz, so it's Huascar Brazoban, who has a 0.73 ERA, 0.73 whip, so probably just a home run, yep. In 12 and a third innings, so nope, that's just a coincidence. And here comes Donovan. So here we go. First pitch from Brazoban. In there for a strike with a changeup. 0-1. Donovan has scored 2 runs in this one, has a single back in the second. He is 1 for 3. The 0-1 pitch. Hard hit ball deep to right field, and it is off the foul pole for a homer. So the game is tied in the ninth on a solo shot from Brendan Donovan. Amazing. 370 feet, 105 off the bat, 26-degree launch angle, and just kept it fair. I had to make sure my eyes weren't deceiving me. What a great job. Here's the first pitch to Walker. Strike 1. So they don't go to Diaz, and it bites him immediately. Walker fouls off the 0-1, and it's 0-2 now. Here's the 0-2 pitch now to Walker. Up and in, 1-2. So Brendan Donovan living up to every single reputation he's built for himself this season. Game-tying homer. And now the Cardinals get a second lease at this ninth inning and at this game. The 1-2. Swing and a miss. 1 down here in the ninth. That was a slider at the top of the zone. Brazoban trying to get back into it. And that'll bring up Thomas Sajacy. So this one could go to extra innings if the Cardinals don't add on or give up a run in the bottom half. But first, let's watch what Sajacy does. The first pitch, fouled back, 0-1. Brazoban had been good this season, but not great. That's the second home run he's given up on the year in under 12 innings of work. Here's the pitch to Sajacy. In there for a strike, 0-2. Sajacy hitting .440 on the year. Did have a single back in the second. Does also have a home run on the year. The 0-2 pitch. Outside 1-2. That one was just a fastball. Brasoban is set. Here's the 1-2 to Sajasi. Goes up and in and got him with the fastball, 98. And there's 2 down now in the 9th. Sajasi was moving his bat way too late before that pitch. I think they knew they could go up and in there. Sajasi swung right over that one. Got to be disciplined with your hands before the pitch comes. Here comes Pedro Pajes with 2 outs now and nobody on. The first pitch from Brasoban is below the zone with the changeup, 1-0. Pajes has 1 home run this season. Had an RBI single in the second. Second pitch is inside, 2-0 now. Tried to sneak a slider back in, and Donovan ripped it. The 2-0, slider at the top of the zone for a strike, 2-1. The 2-1 pitch to Pajes. Fouled back, 2-2. It would be Ciani on deck if Pajes is able to reach. Nootbaar's already come off the bench as a pinch hitter, so nobody could really pinch hit for an outfielder. Unless they wanted to do a double switch. The 2-2. Changeup got Pedro Pajes to swing right over it, but Donovan tied the game in the top of the 9th by crushing a slider to right field off the foul pole, and it's 4-4 headed to the bottom of the 9th. Top of the Mets lineup due up. It'll be Lindor, Soto, and Alonso. So you got to go to probably Helsley. Try to get these 3 outs because they're the toughest 3 outs of the game. And then you just play the 10th from there. Also, Helsley doesn't seem to be great when you give the automatic runner against him anyway. So that's definitely the way to go. So let's just take a look at Helsley's stats. Check out some Savant pages. So they have him right now. He has a 2.57 ERA, 1.57 whip. They have him above average, barely. Pitching value, obviously he had that really bad game against the Red Sox by walking a lot of guys, and that's where you see this fourth percentile. But if you look back at what he did last year, you'll see what type of pitcher he is. 88th in pitching run value. Led the league in saves. 99th percentile fastball velo. Great low barrel percentage. High whiff rate. A lot of strikeouts. He does walk a lot of players, it's true, but it's worth it. Hopefully he can keep it in command here in this one. Let's see who's going to be facing Lindor. It will be Fernandez, so Marmol does not agree with me. He's going to go with Fernandez, who has a 7.71 ERA on the year, and he'll be facing the top of the Mets lineup, so absolutely no forgiveness here. Hopefully he can have a good outing in this one. So Lindor versus Fernandez. 1-0. He missed low. That one was in the dirt. Lindor is 0 for 4 today, though. First pitch from Fernandez is a strike. So I guess that's the first strike from Fernandez. Second pitch, 1-1. The pitch to Lindor. Hit high in the air to left field, and this one is over. Walk-off home run into the second deck, and Lindor sends the Mets fans home happy. We will see you guys tomorrow night. Oh my goodness. Don't know what I expected. Should have gone Elsley. I mean, Fernandez, he's good. He's just not your best guy. And against the top of the order, the metrics say you just got to go with your best guy. Doesn't matter if it's a save situation. You need to keep the game alive. Lindor sent that to the moon. And that's the end of this stream. So I hope you guys have a wonderful night. Mets win 5-4.